I want to bring in business reporter Alexis Christoforous in now for a little bit more on all of this. Alexis, what does this Social Security benefit bump mean for retirees?
Well, hopefully it's going to mean some much-needed relief for the nearly 70 million Social Security recipients. They've seen their budgets stretched thin because of high inflation. Also, their nest eggs have taken a real wallop because of the plunging stock and bond markets. So the average monthly Social Security check will rise by 8.7% next year, the biggest cost of living adjustment since 1981. That means people are going to see their Social Security checks go up by $146 a month. Sure.
So now several changes are coming in 2023 that could impact those who receive SNAP. The USDA says a temporary boost known as the emergency allotments to SNAP benefits put in place during this time will actually end nationwide in 2023. And now households that receive SNAP and Social Security benefits will see just a huge decrease in their SNAP benefits because of, well, significant cost of living increases, significant cost of living changes. For instance, in Ohio, we're in Ohio, right? SNAP benefit amounts will return to normal in March. No more stimulus. Some states have already stopped emergency allotments. Emergency allotments allowed households to receive an additional $95 or more through an additional benefit valued up to maximum benefits for the household size, whichever value is greater. Even though the crisis is still around, the state of Rhode Island has already decided that extra SNAP benefits will come to an end in just a few weeks. Rhode Island families and individuals who receive SNAP or the food stamp benefits will actually have less to spend on groceries starting February 1st. Less money to spend means less stimulus checks, and something that not a lot of people are advocating for. It's pretty disappointing what Congress is trying to do, but it's Congress. What else can we expect? And even though the crisis is still around, well, Massachusetts already received the last emergency allotment on March 2nd. SNAP emergency allotments currently bring in over $95 million of federal funds into that state every month, supporting more than 500,000 households to buy food. Massachusetts officials have already launched a new website just to help their residents prepare for this end of the program. Since April, most people in Oregon who receive food benefits through the SNAP have already received emergency food benefits each month on their EBT card. But February will also be the final month that the Oregon Department of Human Services is allowed to just give away this free cash. March will be the first month since April where the SNAP will only be receiving the regular SNAP food benefits. State officials said that this is the opportunity for people on SNAP to suffer. We know that many rely on these additional emergency food benefits to get enough healthy food for themselves and their families. People in Oregon who receive SNAP are just encouraged to prepare for this change in the food benefits they receive. But according to several tax experts, well, if you've been looking forward to a big tax refund, you just might want to change and adjust your expectations. Because the expiration of tax breaks that were in place during this time of the crisis is just going to result in a much smaller refund for many taxpayers. That's due to some other information that we just can't talk about. Exactly how much a difference will be depends on the size of your household, where you live, and pretty much what you do with your life. What I'm saying, folks, is that, for instance, and if you're one of the states, more than a dozen states that offered rebates or refunds last year, well, these checks count as taxable income. Don't forget it. If you don't even have to pay state tax on them, and if you opt to take out your stimulus check, well, you'll be looking at an extra $1,400. Meanwhile, the child tax credit will return to its normal rate this year after a humongous boost in the 2021 tax year. Humongous, huge boost. This enhanced tax boosted credit is as much as $3,600 per child, $3,600 per family, $3,600 for free. Not only that, but last year's American Rescue Plan received adjusting reports about that people are returning back to normal. Unemployment income is taxable again. Individual incomes is also taxed again. And in other words, stimulus, is President Biden going to do it? We have a ton of news with the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI and SSDI. There's a ton of news that I want you guys to know, a ton of stimulus information to talk about, and a ton of news that you have to see. Because Joe Biden, well, things might get a little bit messy. Because, well, the several Democratic and Republican lawmakers are close to reaching agreement on programs like Social Security, folks. Monthly benefit checks worth up to $1,000 are sent to the people tomorrow, and the government inflation data shows that the measurement used to calculate Social Security COLA, well, it was up 6%. According to a new report from the Senior Citizens League, SCL, the new data indicates that Social Security beneficiaries will recover $40 after months of grappling with record inflation. Consumer prices rose 6.5% on an annual basis as of December, and now the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners, clerical workers, or just a CPIW if you want to keep it short, is a new analysis from the nonpartisan senior group shows that average Social Security benefits fell very short of inflation standards by about $1,000. Yes, $1,054. It fell short of that. So many people are wondering whether retirees who rely on Social Security for income finally catch up in 2023 after record high inflation. Well, the truth is that the answer to that is uncertain. Inflation is still high, things are still getting crazy out of hand, and another experts even said that it's a good thing for people who are planning for retirement to consider understanding the impacts of inflation because not everything is what you see.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Mayor, how are you?
Great, great. Thanks to the bipartisan infrastructure law and the CHIPS and Science Act, we're seeing jobs return to our cities, and we're preparing our citizens for the many opportunities to come. What can we as mayors do to help you further your agenda of shoring up our national security and bring more high-quality jobs to America's cities?
I think two things. One, be realistic and don't confuse the national debt with debt reduction on a yearly basis. The debt we're paying on, and we're going to have a little discussion about that with the new majority leader of the House, has accumulated over 200 years. Over 200 years. Not a joke. That's how long. That's what the national debt is. It's over, $31 trillion, but it's over 200 years, and 1/4 of that debt. 1/4 of that was accumulated in the 4 years of my predecessor. 1/4 of it. So what we've actually done, Mayor, we've actually cut the deficit on a yearly basis. In the first year, because of what you, I'm not being solicitous, because of what you all did, $350 billion. And last year, this year, we cut that deficit on a yearly basis by over $1 trillion. So it's over $1 trillion, roughly $400 billion we've cut the deficit. The yearly deficit, year to year. We got to focus on making sure we do not accumulate more debt on the historic 200 years and gradually continue to reduce it. One of the things that we've done is the budget we're going to be introducing, you're all going to see, is expected to reduce the debt another $1 trillion this next year by spending more. Spending less than we bring in. Now the big debate, I'll be honest with you, and I'm going to talk about in the State of the Union, is a fundamental disagreement on what we should do to cut. What do we cut? Well, it's not just cutting. What do you raise? What taxes do people pay? How do they pay their taxes, and do they pay it fairly? And so one of the things that's going to be a big issue in dealing with the national debt that could, if we don't meet our national debt and renege on the first time, we have a calamity that exceeds anything that's ever happened financially in the United States. And so one of the things that